What's up, my Star Wars friends? Johnmiko here, and this is TVC Deep Dives. So I'm going to kick this series off with VC56, Kithaba. As you can see, there was a running change from a brown bandana to a red bandana. We're going to go into all these details and some other details that have to do with different cards, from the North American card to the US card to the Mexican card. All sorts of great details about the sculpting and engineering. I love me some Jabba goons, and I absolutely love the first 35 minutes of Return of the Jedi. Now that we have Jabba's sail barge, the katana, and these beautiful new skiffs, we can set up a wonderful world-building diorama. Now, I would certainly be remiss if I did not mention the glaring omission from this prisoner skiff, and that's Velken Tezeri. Please, Hasbro, complete the skiff and give us Velken Tezeri. I will have a link to a petition in the description of this video. If you haven't already, please sign it. So getting back to Cathaba, I provided various film reference here that shows the contrasting colors of his bandana. It appears very dark in some references to very red in others. In the TVC archive book, they mention that once Hasbro selected the film out, they realized how red his bandana was and decided to make a running change. Now, as many of you may know, during the filming, the two Klatooinian skiff guards were known as Barada 1 and Barada 2. Now, Barada 1, who was positioned at the second skiff, ended up keeping his name and becoming Barada. Barada 2 would eventually be identified as Kithaba in Jabba's Palace Limited, which was an expansion for the Star Wars customizable card game. Having early reference material, Kenner more than likely had a mashup of both Kithaba and Barada information, and where the film out for the 1985 Power of the Force figure and card back is Barada, most of the figure they produced is Kithaba. Looks to be just the backpack itself might lend itself to Barada, where the rest of the figure is Kithaba. In the mid-90s, we got a Power of the Force 2 Barada. And I'm sure because of this, when Hasbro was developing the vintage collection, they seeked out producing a modern, super articulated, 100% accurate Kithaba. And seeing that we had a 100% accurate Barada during the Power of the Force 2 days, I think Hasbro did the right thing by making a 100% authentic Kithaba. And according to the TVC archive book, designer Brian Parrish, in designing Kithaba, had the intent to repurpose many of his elements to create a Barada figure in the future. And I really hope that happens someday. I mean, most of the lower body can be leveraged, including the bandolier that is a separate piece. And I absolutely love this card back. You can see a nice film out of Cathaba, and then in the backdrop you have the katana. And according to the TVC archive book, Dave Reeves noted, "We deviated from the original Kenner design in order to make what we thought was a much better card. Since the original Kenner card was from the Power of the Force era, I had much more space to work with for imagery and use the sail barge. A nice little detail for the sharp-eyed observer. You can just see Luke standing off to the left on the barge." So let's dive a little more into the figures. So Cathaba came with 3 accessories. He came with a removable bandolier, his force pike, and then the good old trusted skiff guard blaster, the DL-18. And you guys are probably noticing some different colored pins in the shoulders and elbows, or the glaring yellow pins in the elbow. According to the TVC archive book, Engineers grouped the pins as part of the mold planning process to save on the tooling budget, a necessary factor in keeping production costs down. The joints are made of a durable nylon material which paint does not adhere to well. As the shoulder was the most visible joint, Parrish specified the color of the pin to match the surrounding vest. I love the sculpting of this figure, so hats off to Brian Parrish and the Hasbro design team when they made this. One of the things I love so much about the head sculpt and the likeness is you can actually see the actor's eyes and the mask, and I just love that type of detail because that's what it looked like on screen. By all means, this does not meet the standards of today's articulation and engineering, but I gotta say, it checks all the boxes for what we need. He can stand on a skiff, and he just looks stunning. I really hope Hasbro can continue to make more of Jabba's henchmen. I also love some of the minor paint app details they did with the DL-18 blaster. I really hope they continue to do this type of stuff with accessories. So let's dive into the card backs. From left to right, I have the US version of the grayish-brown bandana Kithaba. Next to that, I have the Mexican version of the red bandana. And then I have the US version of the red bandana, and then the North American version with skiff guard in 3 different languages. So diving deeper into each figure and card back here, when we look at the grayish-brown bandana version of Cathaba, we can see there's a Darth Maul offer sticker. This was offered in 2012. And there's paperwork underneath his legs there. Tough to see in the photo, but there's some paperwork there. And that paperwork was sent in to have a chance at basically winning that statue. Now, looking at the date stamp of this figure, the date stamp is 20581. Which is February 27th, 2012. That's when this figure was produced and packaged. Now, what's very interesting is when we look at the next card back and figure, the red bandana Mexican card, this card looks very similar to the US card. Okay? Now, the way you know it's a Mexican card is by looking at the back of it, there is an actual sticker laid over the bottom of the information there. That's basically all the copyrights, the disclaimers, all of that legal mumbo jumbo. So you can see it's a sticker perfectly laid over it. You can just see on the left there that it's a little uneven. So that's how you know. And it also doesn't have an offer sticker or a pamphlet inside the blister under the figure. Now, what's fascinating is the Mexican card, the red bandana version, has the same date stamp of February 27th as the grayish-brown version bandana Kithaba. So the running change was made on the same day. It was made pretty fast. All right, so let's move on to the US card here. This red bandana offerless Kithaba. What's interesting is there is a pamphlet inside this blister, and it's very similar to the pamphlet that came with the European version of this card back. It's not an offer for a Darth Maul statue. It's really just a bunch of disclaimers. And what's even more interesting about this card back is there is no date stamp. I don't know when this was produced. Now, speaking to some people, our friends over at the TVC archive book, Rich Alot, he noted to me that this occurred with assortments, figures that went into assortments earlier than expected. I think this just could have been a Euro card that instead of going to Europe, they took a batch of those and did not put the stickers on and distributed them in the US. And also, speaking with my good buddy, Only One Kenobi, he has a Gamorrean guard that is exactly like this. No offer sticker, a pamphlet inside, no date stamp. Now let's move on to the last card back here, the North American card back. A lot of people refer to it as the Canadian card back, but this figure was distributed in Canada, Mexico, and probably some other Latin countries. So let's take a deeper look here. As you can see, They have skiff guard in 3 languages. In English, then there's garde de skiff, and then guardia de skiff. So there's some French there and some Spanish. Hope I didn't butcher that too much. Now, the other very interesting thing with this figure is the date stamp is 30161. That's January 16th, 2013. Almost a year later, they produced the North American card back. Now, it is offerless and has no pamphlet. So it really shows that film out well, and there's no junky paperwork inside the blister to mess up that beautiful looking figure. So there you have it. There's all 4 card backs, ranging from February production in 2012 to the mystery of when this US card was produced, probably at some point in 2012, and then this North American card with the subtitle in 3 languages, produced in early 2013, kind of telling us that the line still had figures being produced then. So please, in the comments, let me know of any information I might be missing or some additional information that's pretty interesting about VC56 Cathaba. Let me know what you like to focus on. You know, I know people who like to focus on all the different card backs, or at least just one of every variant figure. Some people want to chase the North American cards and all the different subtitles, or I even know somebody that chases the Mexican card backs. So let me know. Let me know in the comments. Hey everyone, johnmiko here. And if you've made it this far, I just want to thank you so much, and I hope you enjoyed this video. As most of you know, I've done a lot of live streaming and posted some of our Q&As with Hasbro, or some of my interviews I've done with Hasbro. This is my first edited and produced video. Bear with me, it'll only get better. I really want to focus on the vintage collection and some of the nuances with the card backs, take a deep dive into the figures, their sculpting, their engineering, and go into some of the variants, errors, and miscards. I also want to show some of the customs I've had made, or I've made myself. So let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this, what you'd like to see more of, and please share this video, like this video, and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. May the force be with you.
TVC, yeah, yeah, yeah. I said, hey, johnmiko.